The 6th International Day of the United Peacekeepers is a celebration being observed every year by the United Nations headquarters in New York and all member states. The Philippines, being one of the founding members of the United Nations, annually celebrates this momentous occasion. Under Presidential Proclamation number 1755, every 29th day of May of the year marks our celebration and provides declaration of the National Council for United Nations Peace Operations. As we celebrate the International Day of United Peacekeepers with the theme expressed as United Nations Peacekeeping, a force for peace, change the future. Let us all rise for the entrance of chorus. The singing of the Philippine National Anthem to be led by PO1 Christine Ann Macabenta.
Bayang magiliw, belas na silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng maritim, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May nilagang tula at awit sa pagnayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naglilinig. Ang bituin at araw na kailan di magtitinig. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsita, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya dapat may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing and let us offer a minute of silence to honor the memory of the United Nations peacekeepers who have lost their lives in the cause of peace, as well as we pay tribute to all the men and women who have served and continue to serve in the United Nations peacekeeping operations for their high level of professionalism, dedication, and courage. Please be seated. And now, the Deputy Director for PANS, Police Chief Superintendent Allen Cortez, will now give his welcome remarks.
To our guest of honor speaker, Honorable Mar Rojas II, Secretary of Interior and Local Government, who is ably represented by Attorney Peter Erwin Corvera, QSEC for Public Safety, Ms. Luisa Carvalho, UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator, QSEC Natalio Icarma III from the Secretary from the Department of National Defense, Honorable Evan P. Garcia from the Department of Foreign Affairs, Police Deputy Director General Marcelo P. Carbo Jr., our Chief Directorial Staff, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the officers and personnel from the Department of Foreign Affairs, Department of National Defense, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and the Philippine National Police, who have served in different UN peacekeeping operations, other distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Celebrated every 29th of May is the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers to honor the memory of UN peacekeepers who sacrificed their lives in the cause of peace, and pay tribute to all men and women who serve and continue to serve in UN peacekeeping operations for their high level of professionalism, dedication, and courage. UN peacekeepers who offer the extreme sacrifice in the cause of peace are especially remembered in this significant occasion. Their dedication and sacrifices will always be in our memories to serve as our inspiration. With the theme, United Nations Peacekeeping, a force for peace, a force for change, a force for the future. This year's celebration will focus on the collective effort and support on UN peacekeepers from different member countries towards the attainment of the UN's goal to build peace and security on post-conflict societies. Today, we are going to acknowledge also the proficiency, commitment, camaraderie, and free will manifested by our UN peacekeepers as they provide effective and efficient service to those who are in need. May this celebration remind us the sacrifices and challenges that our UN peacekeepers did in order to attain sustained peace and order, and progress to make the United Nations peacekeeping vision and mission attainable. Once again, good morning and welcome to the celebration of the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers. Mabuhay.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, in line with the International Day of the United Nations Peacekeepers, this celebration will not be completed without giving recognition to deserving Filipino peacekeepers that have served the United Nations with their utmost efforts and dedication to their duty. At this point, we shall come to the distribution of certificates of appreciation to the former UN peacekeepers who arrived in 2013 and 2014, the assessment team for United Nations Disengagement Observer Force, and the National Council for UN Peace Operations Awards. May we request our awardees to please rise for the presentation of awards. And to present the awards, Honorable Peter Irving Corbell, Undersecretary for Public Safety of the Department of Interior and Local Government, to be assisted by Ms. Luisa Carvalho, United Nations Resident Humanitarian Coordinator, Undersecretary Natalia Ricardo III, the Department of National Defense, Honorable Evan Garcia, the Department of Foreign Affairs, and Police Deputy Director General Marcelo Garbo Jr., the Chief Director of Staff of the Philippine National Police. Our first awardee is Superintendent Roman de la Cruz. Certificate of appreciation is presented to the 2013 PNP contingent to Liberia for the pride and honor they brought to the Philippines and the Filipino people by serving under the United Nations mission in Liberia, and the certificate will be received by Police Superintendent Roman de la Cruz. Chief Inspector Alain Tamayo.
Similar certificate is hereby presented to the 2013 PNP contingent to South Sudan by serving under the United Nations mission in the Republic of South Sudan, and the certificate will be received by Police Chief Inspector Alain Tamayo.
Chief Inspector Alvin Aldo. Similar certificate is hereby presented to the 2013 PNP contingent to Haiti by serving under the United Nations Stabilization Mission in Haiti, and the certificate will be received by Police Chief Inspector Aldrin Ubaldo. SPO3 Karina Pulipino.
Similar certificate is hereby presented to the 2013 PNP contingent to Afghanistan by serving under the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, and the certificate will be received by SPO3 Karina Odikino.
From the Trail Management and Penology, Chief Inspector Metz-Milton Plasencia. Certificate of appreciation is by presented the 2013 Bureau of Jail Management and Penology contingent to South Sudan by serving under the United Nations mission in the Republic of South Sudan, and the certificate will be received by Jail Chief Inspector Metz-Milton Plasencia. Colonel Fidel Emilio Cruz.
Certificate of appreciation is hereby presented to the 17th Philippine contingent to Liberia by serving under the United Nations mission in Liberia from July 2 to December 12, 2013, and the certificate will be received by Colonel Fidel Emilio Cruz.
Lieutenant Colonel Noli Anteliano. Similar certificate is by presented to the 6th Philippine contingent to the Golan Heights by serving under the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force in the Golan Heights from November 11, 2012 to December 8, 2013, and the certificate will be received by Lieutenant Colonel Noli Anteliano. Colonel Jimmy Lavilla.
Similar certificate is hereby presented to the 16th Philippine contingent to Haiti by serving under the United Nations Stabilization Mission in Haiti from December 20, 2012 to November 2, 2013, and the certificate will be received by Colonel Jimmy Larita.
Lieutenant Colonel Ricardo Lucero Jr. Similar certificate is hereby presented to the 2013-2014 batch of the Philippine military observers and peacekeeping staff by serving under the United Nations peacekeeping missions in Abyei, Cote d'Ivoire, Golan Heights, Haiti, Kashmir, and Liberia, and the certificate will be received by Lieutenant Colonel Ricardo Lucero Jr. And now for the 2013 assessment team for the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force, Lieutenant General Jeffrey Delgado.
In recognition of his service as head of delegation of the 2013 Philippine Assessment Mission Team to the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force from June 14 to 21, 2013. And the certificate will be received by Lieutenant General Jeffrey Delgado.
Undersecretary Natalio Icarma III, in recognition of his service as member of the 2013 Philippine Assessment Mission Team to the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force from June 14 to 21, 2013. And the certificate will be received by Undersecretary Natalio Icarma III. Executive Director Nathaniel Imperial. In recognition of his service as member of the 2013 Philippine Assessment Mission Team to the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force, and the certificate will be received by Executive Director Nathaniel Imperial. Executive Director Rafael Hermoso. In recognition of his service as member of the 2013 Philippine Assessment Mission Team to the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force, and the certificate will be received by Executive Director Rafael Hermoso. Second Secretary Robert Borja. In recognition of his service as member of the 2013 Philippine Assessment Team to the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force, and the certificate will be received by Second Secretary Robert Borja. Our next awardee is for the distribution of the National Council for the United Nations Peace Operations Award from the Department of National Defense, Major General Natalio Icarma III. For the pride and honor he brought to the Philippines and the Filipino people by becoming the first Filipino to head a peacekeeping mission, serving as head of mission and force commander of the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force in the Golan Heights from 2010 to 2012, and the plaque will be received by Major General Natalio Icarma III. Ambassador Eduardo Martin Meñas will be represented by Mrs. Marisa Meñas.
In recognition of his outstanding performance and significant contribution as Secretary General to the National Council for United Nations Peace Operations Secretariat from September 2011 to April 2013. And the plaque will be received by Mrs. Marisa Meñas.
From the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Dr. Edna Cayetano, representing Colonel Gregory Cayetano. In recognition for his outstanding performance and significant contribution as Commanding Officer of the Armed Forces of the Philippines Peacekeeping Operations Center from April 2009 to February 2011, and the plaque will be received by Dr. Edna Cayetano. Colonel Nilo Perfecto.
In recognition for his meritorious performance and significant contribution during his term at the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Plans, J5 of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, as Chief of the International Affairs Division from October 2011 to May 2013. And the plaque will be received by Colonel Nilo Perfecto.
Staff Sergeant Tito Mansi. For bringing pride and honor to the Philippines and the Filipino people during a standoff with hostile elements in Bigotan Heights while serving the 6th Philippine contingent to the UN Disengagement Observer Force, and the plaque will be received by Staff Sergeant Tito Mansi. Technical Sergeant Herman Gariza.
For bringing pride and honor to the Philippines and the Filipino people when he gallantly safeguarded the rotating Austrian and Croatian peacekeepers during an attack by hostile elements in Damascus in March 2013 while serving with the 6th Philippine contingent to the UN Disengagement Observer Force in the Golan Heights. And the plaque will be received by Technical Sergeant Herman Galiza.
From the Philippine National Police, Chief Superintendent Edgar Lyon. For bringing pride and honor to the Philippines and the Filipino people during a negotiation standoff between the Timor-Leste National Police and the Defense Force Timor-Leste while serving as United Nations Police in the United Nations Mission in support of Timor-Leste from August 2004 to July 2006. And the plaque will be received by Police Chief Superintendent Edgar Lyon. Chief Superintendent Wilfredo Franco.
In recognition of his exemplary performance and contribution to the United Nations logistics base in Brindisi, Italy, during his tour of duty as senior team leader of the standing police capacity from August 2009 to August 2012. And the plaque will be received by Police Chief Superintendent Wilfredo Franco.
Chief Inspector Godofredo Ergo. In recognition for his meritorious performance and significant contribution during an operations which resulted in the arrest of a kidnapping group in Port-au-Prince while serving as United Nations Police and United Nations Stabilization Mission in Haiti from December 2005 to March 2007, and the plaque will be received by Police Chief Inspector Godofredo Ergo. For SPO1 Elvira Evangelista, I'm represented by SPO3 Karina Olivino.
In recognition for her meritorious performance and significant contribution in the community policing of the Afghan police force during her tour of duty at the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan as UN Police from January 2013 to January 2014, and the plaque will be received by SPO3 Karina Olivino.
Thank you very much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, let's give all the awardees another big round of applause. Thank you, sir. And please be seated. To continue with our program, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we'd like to call Ms. Luisa Carvalho, United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator, to read the message of the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. Let us give her a big round of applause.
Honorable Interior and Local Government Undersecretary Erwin Cabrera, Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Ivan Garcia, members of the diplomat corps, ambassadors, dear countries contributing to peace forces, Police Superintendent Marcelo Coyan-Garbo, Police Chief Alan Montreira Fortes. It's been really a pleasure to be here every year and to celebrate and commemorate this event. Before reading the message from the Secretary General, I would like very much to pay a tribute to a Filipino Sergeant Edson Watt from the Philippines, who died while serving in the United Nations mission in Liberia. He will be honored during the commemorative activities to be held at the United Nations headquarters in New York, along with 10 peacekeepers who perished last year while carrying out their duty under the UN. We stand proud with more than 1 million peacekeepers having served in more than 70 operations on 4 continents since the establishment of the United Nations Peacekeepers in 1948. Today, we have more than 160,000 UN personnel from around 120 countries serving in 16 peacekeeping operations. As we celebrate the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers, we pay tribute to all men and women who have served and continue to serve in UN peacekeeping operations. We also honor the memory and sacrifices of more than 3,200 UN peacekeepers that have lost their lives in line of duty. We thank the Philippines as a consistent support of the UN peacekeeping. The Philippines ranks 33rd on overall contribution with around 700 military and police personnel now in the field operation in Cote d'Ivoire, Haiti, India, Pakistan, Liberia, and Middle East. UN peacekeepers are the perfect symbol of the UN as an intercessor for peace everywhere, whose loyalty is not to any country, race, religion, or dogma, but to peace, reconstruction, life, hope, and future. Indeed, no UN peacekeeper should have to suffer the fate of a combatant when he or she is prevented from defending him or herself in a way a combatant is entitled to do. It is therefore a mark of the Philippine government's high-mindedness that it has resisted to urge to pull out its people from the Golan Heights last year, and decided to continue to honor its international commitment to keeping the peace. As new challenges emerge, such as this, United Nations peacekeeping is evolving to meet them. We are now working tirelessly to support the UN peacekeeping force for a better future for the communities we serve, for those that depend on us for protections, but they should receive the best protection also from the UN and from the countries. This is why this year we are launching a 6-month campaign called UN Peacekeeping, a force for peace, a force for change, a force for the future. United Nations Peacekeeping is looking to innovative ways to ensure that it can meet high demands, increasing operations in difficult circumstances and insecure and high-risk environments. There is also new negotiations and new asymmetric threats from non-state actors, and also we are every day facing new dangers. Innovations are being introduced and implemented, such as unarmed, unmanned aerial vehicles, force intervention brigades, a very enhanced logistics support and revision of all operations, also enhanced use of thermal imaging. We also very proud to boost the representation of women among the ranks, where recently, in a historical breakthrough, the first female force commander was named in a UN peacekeeping operation. Philippines is very active in engaging women in this effort. So I would like, very humbly, to ask for a round of applause to the women of the Philippines that have been serving. And I would like them to stand up, please. And we are looking forward to see your name nominated as the next, among the next force commanders of the peacekeepers. With a track record of over 65 years, UN peacekeeping continues to do hard job in difficult places. UN peacekeeping brings a unique, universal legitimacy that is unmatched by any other force, any other international force and security instrument. So thank you very much for all of your efforts and commitment. To all of you, brave peacekeepers, we convey our admiration to your courage, your commitment, your bravery, the blue helmets. Thank you very much. We also dedicated men and women, a force for peace, a force for change, a force for the future. We thank you so much, and you wish all of you a meaningful commemoration of the Day of the UN Peacekeepers. Thank you so much for your presence here. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ms. Luisa Carvalho, United Nations Resident, Humanitarian Coordinator. We request Ms. Luisa Carvalho to please rise for the presentation of the memento to be presented by Undersecretary Peter Irving Corvera and to be assisted by our Deputy Chief Director, the Chief Director of the Staff of the Philippine National Police, who is Deputy Director General Marcelo Garba Jr. The memento against Nelman is a replica of the PNP badge, which is a symbol of legal authority of every police officer, placing it to their hearts to remind them of their fidelity and dedication to duty expected as public servants. The police is the protector of the weak, defender of the innocent, and advocate of human rights.
And to introduce our guest of honor and speaker, the Chief Directorial Staff of the Philippine National Police, who is Deputy Director General Marcelo Garba Jr.
Today, we are honored with the presence of a gentleman who, in the span of less than 2 decades, has been known by Filipinos as so many things: the Philippines Master, Mr. Palengke, Mr. Cheaper Medicines, and father of the business process outsourcing for the call center industry, just to name a few. A torchbearer of a family known for serving the Philippine people, he is the son of former Senator Gerardo Rojas and grandson of former President Manuel Rojas. He is a product of Ateneo de Manila University, and he obtained his economics degree from the prestigious Wharton School of Economics at the University of Pennsylvania, USA. Before responding to the call of public service, he was a successful investment banker in New York who mobilized venture capital funds for small and medium enterprises. He first became a public servant in 1993 when he was elected representative of the first district of Capiz. Early in his political career, he fashioned himself as a man who holds and upholds utmost professionalism, transparency, and accountability. As a lawmaker, he pushed for ensuring fairer distribution of the education budget in all provinces through Republic Act 7880, popularly known as the Romas Law. When he was appointed Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry sometime in 2000, he focused on the so-called palengke economics, which helped enhance the market as an institution and made it more efficient to supply food and provide jobs. The Filipino people recognized his hard work and reciprocated and rewarded him with close to 20 million votes, making him #1 senator when he ran for the Senate in 2004. Armed with extensive experience and wisdom, he pushed for the enactment of laws on Magna Carta for micro, small, and medium enterprises, the income tax exemption of minimum wage earners, and the Cheaper Medicines Act during his term as senator. On his appointment as Secretary of the Department of Transportation and Communication last 2011, he spearheaded major infrastructure projects such as the LRT-1 extension to Cavite and the modernization of airports and seaports in different parts of the country. And on 2012, the President required his duty once again to lead yet another important agency, which has suffered the timely loss of a very loved leader, the late Secretary Jesse Moreno. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce to you a public servant, our guest of honor and speaker, the Secretary of Interior and Local Government, Honorable Mar Rojas, ably represented by Undersecretary Peter Copel.
Ikaw lang.
Thank you, General Garbo, Chief of the PNP Territorial Staff, Undersecretary Natalio C. Karma of the Department of National Defense, sir, multi-awarded peacekeeper in his own right, Honorable Evan Garcia of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Luisa Carvalho, UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator, Lieutenant General Virgilio Domingo, sir, Deputy Chief of Staff of the AFP, General Johnny Mamalit of OIC of the BJMP, Lieutenant General Jeff Delgado, CEO of the Philippine Air Force, Your Excellencies, ambassadors of the various embassies, and officers and members of the diplomatic corps, members of the directorial staff and officers of our uniformed services, of course, to our honorees and awardees today, distinguished guests, fellow public servants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, I would like to convey the regrets of the Secretary, who would have really wanted to join you in your celebrations and commemorations here this morning, if not for an equally important and urgent task assigned to him by the President. Nonetheless, he personally requested me to deliver his address, which I shall begin to read in its entirety. Una sa lahat, ay malugod kong binabati ang ating magiting na mga alagad ng kapayapaan at kaayusan mulat sa iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan, ang Armed Forces of the Philippines, Bureau of Jail and Penology, at ang Philippine National Police. With a present total of 738 police, military, jail, and experts as mission personnel, I am very proud to note that this makes our country one of the highest contributors of peacekeepers among the nations in Southeast Asia. A living testament to our keen desire to serve and protect the citizenry of any nationality. To our honorees today, let me assure you that we will always be at your side to support your efforts to restore peace and provide humanitarian assistance where these are desperately needed in the world through the United Nations. As peacekeepers, your example of selfless service elevates our mandate in the PNP, AFP, and the BGMP to an international arena to serve and protect not only our own countrymen, but all people who may need our services as public servants, wherever located. For more than 6 decades now, UN peacekeeping has operated on all fronts to redress the human injustices and restore the rule of law. A period of consolidation may be beginning, but this does not mean that our task will be an easy one. The challenges that we face today remain daunting in many ways. UN peacekeepers deployed to other countries face multifarious challenges, often without adequate logistical support and resources, and other limitations. The diversity of your mission is likely to continue to grow together with the complexity of our times. Your mission's mandates are becoming increasingly multifaceted and complicated with the evolving threats to world peace and security. The assignments, which usually start as merely security efforts in the aftermath of a conflict, would extend into establishing long-term and ideally permanent peace in the regions of your operations. To all of our 738 peacekeepers, I urge you to continue to uphold the passion for duty that have become the hallmarks of the Filipino servicemen and women, not only in recreating peace and security in all your mission countries, but likewise in the promotion of economic and social development, and most of all, the promotion of human rights and respect for human dignity, in line with our commitments to the United Nations. With the sacrifices you have made and the heart that you have shown, let me say that I am proud of you. I am proud to be a Filipino, and I believe that every UN contingent around the world is likewise comprised of heroes like you. Again, on this International Day of UN Peacekeepers, I pay tribute to all the men and women that serve with dedication and passion for the purpose of maintaining world peace in our generation. Mabuhay ang mga bayani ng makabagong panahon. Saludo kami sa inyo. Maraming salamat at magandang araw po muli.
Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Peter Irving Corvera, Undersecretary for Public Safety, Department of the Interior and Government. Please be seated. We shall come to the presentation or giving of memento to our guest honored speaker, and we'd like to request Honorable Peter Irving Corvera, sir, Undersecretary for Public Safety, to please rise for the presentation of memento to be presented by Mr. Deputy Director General Marcelo Gardo Jr. May request Ms. Luisa Carvalho, Undersecretary of Tana Carmen, Honorable University to please join. The memento, ladies and gentlemen, is a miniature replica of the United Nations Police, which is an integral part of the United Nations Police operations. They help to create a safer environment as well as protecting civilians from criminal activities. They restore the public safety and the rule of law through the United Nations. Thank you, sir. Let's give them a big round of applause. Yes, please. Let us all rise for the exit of honors. Please be seated. We shall have a performance with the parties. We would like to go to the first group who will receive the certificate of appreciation to all UN peacekeepers from the PNP, led by Police Superintendent Commander Cruz Sacramento, from the BJMP, and from the AFP, led by Colonel Fidel Ignacio Cruz. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Our next group, the 2013 Assessment Team from UNDOF, led by Lieutenant General Jerry Delgado, and others. Thank you, sir. And the last group, the National Council for United Nations Peace Operations, from the DND awardees, the FD awardees, AFP awardees, and the DND awardees. Group of the National Council for United Nations Peace Operations awards. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, I'd like to thank our guest of honor, Honorable Peter Urban Corbera, Undersecretary for Public Safety, Department of Interior and Government. Ms. Luisa Carbajo, United Nations Resident Humanitarian Coordinator. From the Department of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Evan Garcia, from the Department of National Defense, Undersecretary of Public Affairs. The third, and all you ladies and gentlemen, the awardees, congratulations again. Good morning to everyone. And I'd like to invite